A killer is among them. Paranoia rises, trust is shattering, and just when you think you found your villain, they die. This is psychological warfare in sub-zero silence. Welcome back to Polaris 6. Hello everybody, this is BleakReels and welcome to the channel where we dissect the terror one cold-blooded decision at a time. Today we're diving into Season 1, Episode 2 of HBO's The Head, and this is where the dread starts to set in. We'll recap some major details, conversations, shifting alliances, the death that changes everything, and break down the real question behind it all. Who's telling the truth, and who's trying to make it out alive? Let's get bleak. The episode opens with a flashback to Johan and Annika at their home, enjoying a light-hearted moment until the phone rings. Annika, feeling it's important, answers and learns that a man named Damien Fowles has died. Cause of death? He fell from the roof of his home. Johan immediately starts speculating whether it was an accident or intentional, wondering if Damien had been depressed. But how in the world would she know? She just heard about the man dying. Annika, still in shock, has no answers. I'm pretty sure this is the first mention of Damien. It's suggesting he's significant to the larger story, otherwise I'm sure we wouldn't be getting this scene, though we are left without further context for now. We then return to the present where Johan is examining the mysterious note found in the closet. Astrid then returns from her journey to the Argentina base. She reports that after flying around the sector twice, there was no sign of the snowcat. Obviously, Johan isn't happy about that, and she tells him to take notice of the incoming storm that she wouldn't be able to fly through. As we move back to the base, the summer team are using fingerprint ID to unlock the winter crew's phones. All of them open except for Ramon's. Their savvy tech guy steps in saying he can crack it open, but it's not that simple. He discovers that everything in Ramon's phone is a military grade encrypted, and they'll need the passcode if they want to get in. A cook all the way out in Antarctica with a heavily encrypted phone. That's not suspicious at all. We then shift to Johan wanting to question Maggie again, but Mike warns him that if she has another panic attack, she's off limits until the rescue team arrives, and Johan promises to play nice. We jump back to the past and start at the winter crew bringing Miles inside the station where Maggie does an autopsy on his body. She reports to Arthur and Eric that blunt force trauma to the back of the head with a heavy object is the cause of death. Now, the decapitation, on the other hand, happened after he died, as there was no large pool of blood. Arthur and Eric have a little verbal dispute as Eric is rightfully in disbelief, yet Arthur feels inclined to basically tell him that he shouldn't be, as he was in the military, so he should be used to this type of stuff. I really don't like Arthur, man. Eric believes that they're looking for someone big and strong, but Maggie says it could be any of them.
You could have done it. Or me. I'm certainly strong enough.
Arthur, being the piece of shit that he is, talks about Eric as soon as he leaves the room, saying how he's not a natural born leader, which, whatever, who cares. Then he says that some people join the army to be told what to do, and how Eric led his platoon into a sniper trap and lost 3 of his men. Like, what the hell does this have to do with the situation? I feel like Arthur is just pissy because he's not in control, and it's pissing me off because he makes it everyone's problem. Like, dude, you're a scientist. You're a guest. Nobody on that station has to report to him, and yet he acts like they do. It's so annoying. Eric then goes on to address the crew about the autopsy. Neil starts going on about how it could be Sporty Spice or Ferran Adria with his kitchen knives. Ramon fires back, accusing Niels of drinking too much and finally snapping. He goes on about if it looks like an asshole and shits like an asshole, but then Niels drops a line that cuts through the room like a blade.
Yeah, and there's fucking worse things than being a fucking asshole, isn't there, Ramon, right?
Niels didn't just throw shade, he threw the whole damn shadow realm. Ramon's reaction is immediate, visibly angry and charging towards Niels. Eric steps in fast and tells Niels don't go there. That phrase, it says a lot in my opinion. Niels wasn't just being rude, he was taking a calculated shot. A jab aimed straight at Ramon's past, something dark enough that even Eric, the most neutral guy in the room, feels the need to shut down. This isn't just tension, it's buried secret secrets, bubbling up one sharp comment at a time. Eric then starts being optimistic of the situation. He refuses to believe that anyone in the station is capable of killing, let alone one another. He suggests that maybe it was an intruder from the outside and they should search for tracks of any kind. Of course, Arthur finds an issue with that immediately, asking to put it to a vote. Thankfully, Eric shuts him down yet again. Do us a favor, Arthur. Just stop talking, please. After setting out to find any clues, Maggie notices Neil's burying something. She nearly gets found out but evades him successfully. She starts being nosy and finds a bloody saw in the snow. After notifying the crew of what she saw, they return to the station where they find Niels has locked them out. Eric tried to talk him down, but Niels passes out. He then sends Annika, Arthur, and Ramon to check out the back pantry. He and Elba go for the hangar door. Aki, Heather, and Maggie are told to stay put and keep Niels talking. Heather, being the badass that she is, refuses and sets off to find her way inside through the service vents. The problem is that she can't squeeze through with her clothes on, so she strips down to her leggings and bra. Keep in mind, it's negative 30 degrees out and her skin is touching freezing cold metal. I don't even want to imagine what that feels like. Aki and Maggie return to Niels and keep him distracted while Heather sneaks up behind and chokes him out. After Niels comes to, we get a scene where we see the side everybody is on. Heather, Ramon, and Arthur agree that Niels is responsible for the murder, but Eric, Annika, and Aki just can't imagine Niels doing something so barbaric. While Elba seems to lean more on the not guilty side, she still is keeping her distance. Maggie looks more interested in how everyone else is reacting. Maybe it's the acting, or maybe she's hiding something and I'm not reading too deep into it. After more disbelief from Annika, Ramon questions if it's really that hard to believe, as she knows why Niels is out there. Since Heather hasn't sipped it before, she pushes for the tea, and Ramon tells us how it was 10 years ago, Niels' daughter overdosed and the drug dealer was later found beaten to death. Niels pleads with the crew, saying that he didn't do it but only wishes he had. Ramon, being the jerk he is, keeps on digging and Niels rightfully loses it.
Rest my case!
Dude, you just taunted a man with his daughter's death. He reacts and you act like he's the problem? Good looking guy, rotten to the core. Arthur circles back to the murder weapon being a saw, which is the tool of trade for Niels. Eric proceeds to ask them if they're just going to throw him out in the cold, knowing they won't. Niels starts to come clean that when they were suiting up to go out, he found the saw planted deep in his closet. He buried it because he knew no one would believe him. The crew ultimately chooses to compromise. They lock Niels up in the washroom with his arms bound. With the crisis contained, the crew takes a moment to breathe. We cut to a quieter moment where Eber shares her backstory and how she ended up at Polaris 6. Her husband, named Lucas, gambled away their savings, so she had to take this shit gig. She goes on about how she spent all winter hating Lucas, but not because of the money. It was her having to spend time away from her kids, Victor and Lily. Now, thankfully, the idiot she was married to changed his ways, as Elba mentions, but Maggie points out that she came back. Elba completely dodges her, saying how the kids are older now, but there's obviously something she's not saying, and I have a feeling her trauma is about to be exposed very soon. We then change scenes where Aki brings up to Maggie the story Niels told us. As opposed to her, Aki doesn't believe the murder was personal. Destroying the comms is too calculated, and the decapitation is a message.
Be afraid. Be very fucking afraid.
It makes you wonder, why would Niels do all that for a personal vendetta? Later we get a montage of faces where everyone is trying their damnedest to look calm. But there's something off, like they know deep down it's not really over. Aki, being the clever youngster he is, goes to check out Niels' quarters and find that he may have just been telling the truth. But I am sad to say that he figured it out too damn late. Someone slipped into the washroom and slit Niels' throat. He was easy to blame, so they did, and now he's dead. Screw you, Ramon. Back in the present, Johan begins poking holes in Maggie's story, questioning her timeline. Why didn't she see Aki with Niels? How does she know what happened when she wasn't even there? He says that the ice calls to strange people and that the station had its fair share. If that's not clear for anyone, he's implying that Aki may have killed Niels, but Maggie insists that Aki wasn't the killer. We later have our savvy tech guy announcing he's found something, a looping message Annika sent out from the station. Using a Doppler direction finder, they traced the signal underground into the tunnels. There they found the radio, and out of nowhere we find out that caveman Arthur is still alive. After Johan calms him, Arthur finally speaks. He doesn't know where Annika is, but the last time he saw her, she was alive. He says he's been trapped in the tunnels for weeks and that he didn't even realize that winter was over. So when the lights finally came back on, he thought that she had found him.
Maggie.
After noticing the shift in demeanor from Johan, Arthur deduces that Maggie is still alive, acting like the good little victim girl, but in his words, Maggie killed them all. Arthur's return changes everything. His claim that Maggie killed them all flips the entire narrative, especially when we've just spent 2 episodes watching her unravel in grief. Is he telling the truth? Is this the trauma talking? Or is he just the next unreliable narrator in a station full of secrets? We've seen lies, manipulation, missing time, and now multiple conflicting stories. If Maggie isn't who she says she is, then what really happened at Polaris 6? On that note, there's one theory I really want to address, the cafeteria fight, because it's more than just a heated exchange. When Niels tells Ramon there's worse things than being an asshole, the entire room shifts. Ramon charges at him, but Eric jumps in and shuts it down with the "don't go there." That's not just a fight waiting to happen. That's a secret waiting to explode. And then there's the phone. Earlier in the episode, we find out Ramon's phone is locked down with a military-grade encryption for a cook in the most remote place on Earth. That is super suspicious. So here's my theory. Ramon is obviously running from something in his past, and Niels knows it. So Ramon had to silence him. We're not talking about government secrets or spy missions. This feels personal, like Ramon was involved in something violent, something criminal, maybe an assault, maybe worse. He got away with it or someone helped him bury it, now he's trying to keep it buried. That encrypted phone, it's not a connection to some sort of covert op. It's his lifeline to whoever knows his secrets. Or maybe it's protection, a threat he keeps on lockdown in case the past comes knocking. And Niels, he's either figured it out or he already knew. That line in the cafeteria might have been his way of saying, I could ruin you. It's not proof, but it's pressure, and Ramon cracked. Now before we say goodbye, I just want to point out the absolute unit of a character Heather is. After being locked out by Niels while most of the group scrambles to find a way inside, Heather's already making moves. Eric tells her, Aki, and Maggie to stay put, but Heather isn't waiting around to freeze her ass off. She knows Niels is probably the killer. He's bigger, stronger, and she's alone if things go south. But she goes in anyway, and that takes guts. Another example is when they discover the comms destroyed. You can see it on her face, suspicion, already scanning the room like she's trying to figure out who's responsible before it's too late. Then later in the mess hall, as Ramon charges at Niels, Heather is the first one on her feet ready to act, and she doesn't sit down until Ramon does. Whatever's going on in her head, she's sharp, brave, and collected under pressure. And I have a feeling that's going to put a target on her back real quick. I'd honestly put her in the top 3 characters this season so far. She's not just surviving, she's reading the room and staying ready. A new death, a shattered group, and now a survivor returns, pointing the finger at the one woman everyone thought was broken. The head doesn't just keep the mystery going, it rewrites everything we thought we knew. So is Maggie a liar or the last sane person in a base full of ghosts? Until next time, keep watching the dark because it's definitely watching you.